Hi, everyone. I am here. We're here to announce a brand new camera tonight. And I know everyone tonight, this afternoon, this morning, if you're in Australia, I know everyone is probably pretty excited to hear about this brand new product launch. It's been the buzz all over the internet today, which I love seeing. Today, we are here to introduce the all-new M.ZUIKO 50 to 200 millimeter F2.8 IS Pro. It's the new little white lens to go along with our big white lens, and we're really, really excited about it. So I'm just going to do a little housekeeping before we jump in, and then we're going to meet all of our great ambassadors, and we're going to take a wonderful look at some very great images that have been shot with the new lens so you can see for yourself its performance. And it'll be a great time to ask questions and ask how the experience with the camera, or the lens was, and anything that you're interested in learning more about today. So make sure you ask those questions in the comment section. I see a lot of people coming out of the East Coast right now, not a lot of West Coasters. I know it's early in the afternoon for us. We got some Alaska. Hello, Alaska. And Scotland. Good night, Scotland. So thank you guys all for joining us. I see a lot of familiar faces down in the chat as well. Hopefully we'll see some more joining us soon. And if you don't want to stay up too late tonight, don't worry. Coffee with the Claires is going live on our YouTube channel tomorrow morning. They will be also featuring some ambassador work as well, so you can get some more YouTube action from us tomorrow morning. I believe it's at 7 a.m., but Jim is in the chat helping me out tonight, so he will drop a link for you guys because I am multitasking a lot of things back here on the back end of the live stream. So it's lovely to see you all again, but realistically, I'm not the reason anyone is here. So let's start inviting our ambassadors on stage. So first up, I'm going to bring out our lovely, famous Peter Baumgarten. Hello, Mr. Baumgarten.
Hello, Michaela, and I have to say, you are the reason why I'm here.
You're here because I made you.
That's right. You invited me to come, and I'm happy to be here. So, hello. And hello to everybody out there, no matter where in the world you're watching this.
This is true. From anywhere, this is true. But realistically, hello, most of you in the US and that one guy in Scotland. Thanks for holding out. All right, so next up we have Eric Rock. How's it going tonight, Eric Rock?
Eric's doing excellent. I'm happy to be here, and even more happy to be talking about this new lens launch.
Awesome. I love that he's so excited. He's talking about himself in the third person. Excellent work, Eric.
If I start spinning around, you know I'm really excited then.
All right, next up, Emilie Talpin from New England. Hello, darling. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this moment forever. And hi to everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces. I also see some of other ambassadors like Chris, Lisa, and Tom in the chat. So yeah, thank you for joining us. This is so cool.
All right. Last but not least, this is actually a brand new ambassador to our program. He just joined us this year, Mr. Chris McQuarrie, hailing from Canada land.
Hey everybody, yeah, thanks for having me. This is great, and I think this product launch is definitely worth the hype. The lens is probably exactly what you guys are hoping to hear about that it is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving in and telling you my opinion about it.
All right, I guess I'm having some audio issues, so I am going to switch over to another microphone after we get Peter all set up and ready to go. So the format of the show tonight, we are going to share images from Peter, Eric, Chris, and Emilie. They're each going to have a little bit of time to showcase some of their really amazing images and the super versatile and very different style of images that they got, and talk a little bit about it. We'll have time to answer questions as they come up in the chat, so do feel free to add them to the chat. Anything super technical, we'll also have some links and information from Jim in the chat. We'll type that out and maybe not answer it on screen, but we will try to get all your questions answered tonight. I had that total brain drop off there for a second, so forgive me. Been a while since I've done a live stream. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our slides, and we're going to learn a little bit more about Peter Baumgarten in case you are new to OMSYSTEM and the ambassadors, because he's been around for a while with us since the Olympics days. So Peter, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
No, I don't want to talk about myself, but if you I will. So I'm also from Canada land. Is that what you called it? So I am from Canada as well. I live on Manitoulin Island, which is kind of in northern Ontario, surrounded by a whole bunch of water from Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. And I came on board as an OMSYSTEM, we're an Olympus ambassador. We were called visionaries back then, back in 2014. So yeah, I think I'm just kind of in the middle of my 12th year doing this and have loved every minute of it. I really don't want to talk about myself too much, so I will talk a lot more about this lens, though. I think we got notice of it about 2 months ago, Michelle? I think that's kind of when we were brought in on this secret, and we were shown pictures, and then a few of us were able to get some test copies to shoot with, and it feels like winning the lottery. This is one incredible lens. I've had it now for a while, and I've actually kind of carried it across the country during the month of August to shoot with it. And it really is as good as everybody is saying it is. I've had the big brother of this, right? The big white, since it came out. And this one is of equal quality to it in every aspect, and in some ways it's even better than Big White. All right, I feel like I'm in the Moby Dick movie or something.
Yeah, no, let's jump into your photos.
All right, so please move on. I'm tired of looking at my image.
Yes, let's look at one of your actual images, because this one is probably one of my favorites that you submitted. I love this.
Yeah. So I consider myself a generalist. I know that a lot of people, when they look at my work, think of me as a landscape photographer, but I truly will shoot almost anything. I don't like to specialize too often. So this flower was in my garden. It had been raining, and it was still raining when I shot this image. And I went outside, and I just thought, the raindrops can really add to a photograph. Had the lens in my hand with the camera attached, the OM1. I shot all of these images with the OM1 Mark II, and decided to try sort of that macro style of shooting. And that's wide open, F2.8, so sharp, so fast. And what I really love about this image, the reason why I sent it in to Michelle when she asked for some of our favorites, is that's incredible soft bokeh, right? That really nice defocus bokeh. That's just my dirty old lawn in the background, but it fades away so nicely when it's wide open. And of course, it's wide open throughout the whole focal range. Now, there's an image that I took the other day that I didn't have time to send in, but it's kind of related to this, the whole weather sealing of this. So I was in the rain for this, and I've often shot in the rain, but the other day I was shooting a lighthouse on Georgian Bay, and for something, and it was quite wavy. For something a little different, I decided I'm going to put the camera right on the sand, because just the way the light was shining off of the sand after a wave would come in, and you get that really nice sheen. And I was so focused on the composition that I completely missed the next wave coming in, and it washed right over the camera. It washed right into the lens hood, completely soaked everything. It's not I wasn't worried about the camera. I've had that happen many times, but what I was really impressed with was the fact that with that fluorine coating, I could just shake it off. I was out there with just that camera and the lens. I didn't even have a lens cleaning cloth with me. I just was able to shake it off and continue shooting. So it can absolutely handle, being completely soaked. Even with the sand that came in with it, that wasn't an issue with it. So anyway, this was one of the first shots that I took. I didn't have to travel far for this one. This was probably 20 or 30 meters away from where I'm sitting right now in my garden. Next one.
Oh, I'm on it.
All right. No, yeah. I don't have the button, so I just have to poke and
prod. Somebody asked if they could see a lens size comparison with the 40 to 150, and I was trying to get one hand delivered to my desk by a very grumpy personal assistant.
Oh, have you got it there to show?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well let's do that. Because a lot of people I know want to know what the size difference is.
Yeah, let me see if I can highlight myself for one sec. Let's see how this goes. Oh, and now it's just me. Oh, that's awkward. Sorry, guys. So here is our new guy, 50 to 200 millimeters. And then here, oh my gosh, I've got too much aperture going on here, is the 40 to 150. So size-wise, a little bit different. And I know that I did see in the comment section somebody asking if it was an internal zoom. It's an internal zoom. That's right, it is. So a little bit different in length and size, but the weight is insanely close. Like, you would be very shocked and surprised at how incredibly close the weight is on these. So not a huge difference there. And it's really, really well balanced, similar to the 150 to 400. So it's actually quite comfortable mounted on the front of your lens. So,
Yeah.
All right, back to Peter. That was my little my product placement, Vanna White in the middle there.
I mean, I also have the 40 to 150. I love that lens, but this one, again, it has almost no weight difference between the two. This is a little over 1,000 grams. Now, I think that's without the collar, but I've often taken the collar off, which is also a nice thing that you can do with this lens that you can't do with big white. Because sometimes, you know, I don't want it on a tripod. I'm quite content with just having it collarless, I guess you could say. All right, moving on, because I don't want to run out of time here. One of my favorite things to do when I'm walking in the forest, and we've got lots of them around here, is macro shooting. And so this was one of the macro shots that I captured with the 50 to 200. This is a focus stacked image. So it comes already ready to do focus stacking with it. And again, that beautiful bokeh in the background. I shot this wide open at F2.8. I think this might have been 4 or 5 shots that I used in order to do this. And that mushroom there is maybe 2 centimeters tall. And when I saw this, I couldn't see the little strand of spider silk that you see there. I only noticed it when I actually looked through the viewfinder or on the LCD when I'd set it up. It does take a bit of getting used to shooting small objects with this, because of course, when I'm shooting with the 60 or the 90, I'm putting the camera, you know, a few inches away from the subject. And now this, of course, is just under a meter. I think it's 78 centimeters is the closest focusing distance. So that took a bit of getting used to. The first time I set the camera down in order to shoot some mushrooms, I was much too close and realized, no, I got to back this off a little bit. And of course, it also has that focus limiter switch on the side of it so that I can force it to search, to focus in a little closer rather than try to go to infinity if it doesn't have anything in focus yet. So that focus limiter switch is really quite convenient, especially if you're doing macro style shooting. And it really does incredibly good macro style shots. All right.
All right. Next up.
Click.
I'm getting there. I want to make sure this one doesn't, that's Emilie's.
We're good. No, this is me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
This is me. I know Emily's, sorry to steal Emily's thunder, but I think we both have a couple of monarch butterflies.
I love yours though, Peter. This is such a gorgeous image.
Thank you. And yours isn't half bad either. It's actually pretty sweet. So in this case, I was driving down a gravel road, and alongside of the road was this fairly deep ditch, and in it was what's called swamp milkweed. Of course, we all know that monarch butterflies like milkweed, and they lay their eggs on the smaller version of milkweed, but this is a swamp milkweed. And these flowers, these plants are as tall as I am, and I'm 6'2". So I pulled the car over, I got out of the car, I walked into the ditch, and now I am surrounded by, you know, dozens and dozens of these flowers. This was a few weeks ago, middle of August. They're in bloom, and there were several of these monarch butterflies flitting around. And so, you know, it was very easy to capture these. And what I was going for was the blur. The monarch butterfly was actually second to the composition for this shot. I wanted some foreground blur. I wanted some background blur. So I purposely positioned myself so that I would be actually shooting through some of the pink blossoms. And, you know, you can see here that there is some of that blur in the foreground. Yet it had no difficulty focusing on the main subject, that monarch. So just had a lot of fun in there. There were several people who drove by as I'm standing in the ditch, and probably thought I was crazy, but the local people around here, I live in a pretty small town. Lots of people know that I'm the nut guy that ends up, on my belly or stuck in a ditch or hopping a fence or something like that. So anyway, I don't care if it allows me to get the shot.
You have to do what you have to do to get the shot, but this lens is definitely so amazing because the distance. Did you find that? Because I love what you say about the 90mm macro. I feel like with this lens, it's just so brilliant for butterflies.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic for subjects of this size. So I shot this at the full range, right? So it was at 200 millimeters. I don't know, maybe 6-7 feet away from it. And of course, because of the 16:9 aspect ratio of the slideshow, there is a little bit of cropping off the top and bottom, but it pretty much filled the frame and was very easy to lock on focus with these guys. And it was actually fairly windy. So those plants, although they look very still right now, were blowing around a little bit, but I had no trouble focusing on them.
Excellent. Next up.
All right.
There we go.
Now we're getting into what I think a lot of people think this lens is all about, wildlife photography. And I am not a dedicated wildlife photographer. I have no problem saying that, but I love it when those opportunities present themselves. So this is, I think I shot this on the first day that I got the lens, maybe the second day. And I thought I'd try to keep it simple. Again, I just went out into my yard. I plopped myself on my lawn. I live on a slope. And so I sat down on the slope here a little bit and just waited for the hummingbirds. Took a little bit of patience, probably about 20 minutes before any of them show up. These are ruby-throated hummingbirds. I couldn't find any males, just the females seem to be around, and they don't have the ruby throat. But within a fairly short period of time, I was able to capture them. And I just switched it to one of my custom settings. So my custom one is set up for the bird AI, the subject detection for birds, and pro capture. The lens was so fast. It's as fast as the 150 to 400 for people who might be familiar with that one, the big white, maybe even faster. I don't know. I didn't do any side-by-side comparisons. I don't do that kind of stuff. But it was incredibly fast, incredibly accurate at capturing these, even when they were darting around. Right? If you've shot hummingbirds, they're not actually all that difficult to photograph because they hover, right? Yeah. But when they're flitting back and forth and you're trying to keep them in the frame, it really does a great job at locking in on it and maintaining focus on those moving subjects. So I got a whole bunch of them. I think this was one of my favorites. So that's why I sent it in to Michela. But this was kind of at dusk. The sun had already set behind the trees in my yard. But even though I shot them also in full bright sunlight the next day, I like this one better. I like this shot. So I was shooting at a higher ISO than I might have liked to, but still really good, accurate focusing. Just really sweet.
And that is a question. I didn't put it in the EXIF data. I was putting a lot of stuff in the EXIF data, but do you know what ISO you were at? There's a question about that in the comments.
I think this was at 1600, but I also shot some of them just as well at 3200, and with next to no noise. The OM1 Mark II does such a great job at handling noise. So the other thing that I want to mention before we move on to this is if you look at the EXIF data that's listed here, I pulled out the MC14, right, the 1.4 teleconverter. It is, equivalent to 400 millimeters, but sometimes you want more reach than that. So I pulled out the 1.4 times teleconverter. I wanted to try that out, and there was absolutely no drop in performance at all. I've had lots of great luck with the MC14. I've been shooting with that since it came out, I think around the same time as the 300 millimeter. And that's going back. I mean, that's kind of like when I started with Olympus OM system. So I've been shooting with it, had great luck with that one.
Nice.
Yeah, the 1.4 is just the perfect combo.
It is.
I just love that. The reach that you're getting with this, there are a lot of time. I think I'm just going to take that lens instead of the 150-400.
Yeah.
It does so much.
And it's still at f4. right? Which is a
Yes.
nice, solid, it's a great aperture and still nice, soft backgrounds.
Sometimes I forget I have it on when I put it on.
Yes.
I did that once when I was out in BC, and I'm trying to shoot a landscape shot, and I'm wondering, and like it didn't dawn on me right away that why is the field of view so narrow? Like, what have I done? And it took me a while to realize, oh crap, I got the MC20 on,
Wow.
and so like it adds a little bit of length. There's the 20 right now in front of me here because I just had it on it. But yeah, you don't notice it. It is a light lens, and the teleconverters don't add a great deal of length to it.
Wait, yeah. All right, next up. We're going through. He's so cute.
I'll try to speed this up and tell me if I'm going too slow or too fast. No, too slow. Yeah, that's it. All right. So when we were in Saskatchewan, we did this road trip across the country, and this was in Grasslands National Park, right at our campsite. And my wife is setting up the camp, and I say, "Forget it, honey. You're on your own." And I did the sort of the army crawl and just kind of laid there in the grass. And I knew that these prairie dogs were there. They were popping their heads out, kind of like whack-a-mole kind of stuff. And I just sat there or lay down there in the grass waiting. And this little guy popped his head up, became a little curious, came in fairly close. That's without a teleconverter, and shot at f3.5. Everything on that little guy is sharp. I think you could count the hairs if you had nothing else to do that day on that guy. And again, remember that the top and bottom of this is cropped for this presentation. But that is the full size. So I was able to get in nice and close with this guy and capture all of the detail, a little bit of catch light in his eye. Really sweet shot. This guy's a cutie. Didn't realize how long those nails are, those claws are on these guys.
They are so long. He's got longer nails than me.
Yeah.
He's crazy. It's crazy because I can see a giant screen next to me, like my big battle station is all set up here, and you literally can see every whisker on his face. I'm sure that doesn't translate as well on YouTube, but
Yeah.
it's insane, the detail. All right, next, we're going further into the wild. Actually, nope, we're going back to birds. We're bouncing from wildlife.
Well, birds, wildlife, I consider them sort of the same thing. I think they're both animals. So
I hope.
The thing that I was really hesitant to do, and I'm not even too sure I'm supposed to say this, but when we first had our meeting 2 months ago, I spoke out and I said, and you want people to shoot with the MC20 with this thing? In the past, I have not had a great deal of luck with the 2x teleconverter. And so I kind of put it away and never used it. But I thought I'm going to try it with this guy, and it's been fantastic. The 2x teleconverter with the new 50-200 is so sharp, so accurate. I have gotten some really nice shots with this. I actually haven't been shooting with my 150-400 lately because all I need to do is take the one lens and throw on the 2x, and I've got a really nice 800 millimeter equivalent lens. So this was on the shore of Lake Superior. It was in the evening. Again, the sun had set, and this greater yellowlegs had been strutting around on the shore, kind of darting around with the waves coming in. And I was able to get a whole bunch, probably about 100 or so images of this one. And again, lots of nice detail in those feathers. And that's with the MC20. It really works well with this lens. Next one is the same, Michelle, if you just want to pop up to that one.
Yeah, I love this one with the fox on the head.
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite wildlife shot that I've captured with this one. So this was here again back home on Manitoulin Island. I was out driving down a gravel road, heading to photograph some sandhill cranes. We have lots of sandhill cranes here. And I thought, okay, they want some bird photographs. I'll get some bird photographs. And I never did end up submitting any of those, but I did submit this one. As I'm driving down this gravel road, all of a sudden I look out the driver's side window, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this orange fur ball on these hay bales. And I was going on at a pretty good clip, and I thought, if I hit the brakes, I'm going to scare this guy. So I just kept driving for a while. And this is something that I've done many times. I'll just drive a couple hundred meters more. I'll slow down gradually. I turn around, make sure the camera's ready to go, roll down the windows, and then I make my way back, because I knew that I was going to have to shoot this guy out through the window, through the car window. There was no way I was going to be able to get out in a position and so on and photograph it, you know, hidden or anything like that. So I just took my chances, got in as close as I could, had the 2x teleconverter on it, and ended up with this shot. I think I got 4 images out. Didn't change it to any kind of special setting. I was just shooting single shots at a time. And I absolutely love this. The lighting was perfect. He stepped kind of out of the shadows there a little bit, curious about me, and the lighting was perfect. And I absolutely love this image.
It's gorgeous. What a great shot.
I don't get a lot of foxes, so I take them when I can.
So I've seen a few comments come through on the last two, and it is kind of funny. I think it is our streaming resolution, and it could be my weird internet that has been very strange today, because I'm looking at these shots and they're very sharp on my giant screen. That's one thing to keep in mind. I've been dropping their social media links on the bottom banner. Go take a look at their photos that they're posting on their Instagram channels, their Facebook pages. Actually, Peter Baumgarten on his website, Creative Island Photo, just had a wonderful blog post where you can actually see the still photos as well and look at them a lot closer. I apologize if our stream quality is not as great as it could be. It happens sometimes, and the internet, it's a live stream, guys, and I apologize. I know sometimes we have those situations pop up. But yes, definitely go take a look at Peter Baumgarten's website. His most recent blog is all about this lens and has some amazing images in it. But for now, we can look at we're switching gears. We're totally switching gears, and now we're going landscape.
Yep. All right. So this is kind of what people think of me as a photographer as a landscape photographer, although I'll shoot everything. And so is this the best landscape lens for the grand landscapes? No, probably not. A wide angle lens, if you want to sort of get the whole Grand Canyon, this probably isn't the lens. But there are so many times where I found myself turning to this lens for all sorts of reasons. This is in BC, beautiful lake. And in order to capture this, I decided to shoot a pano. So I was close enough to this lake that I couldn't get the whole thing in unless I switched, let's say, to the 8-25. So I thought, no, I'm gonna shoot a pano. So I switched to vertical mode. I took 6 shots and then stitched 4 of them together. But one of the other really cool features on the 50-200 is what they've done to the lens hood. They've added a little sliding port that allows you quick access to your filters. And I regularly use a circular polarizer, so I can slide the door open and I can just use a finger and turn my circular polarizer so that I can reduce the glare and saturate the colors. And that's exactly what I had to do with this shot. And I've done it many, many times with this. So by shooting a pano, I can get sort of a larger scale landscape shot, and it's bigger than in the actual photograph, because again, the cropping on the top and bottom here. But what I really love about a telephoto lens is that it allows me to shoot detail images. And I've actually found myself doing more and more of that in my shooting. One of the things that I say to, camera clubs when I present to them, or workshop participants, right? You have a lot of power as a photographer. You have the power to control what everybody sees in your image, but more than that, you have the power to control what they don't see in an image. And that's what I love, the power that I've got to control what you see or don't see in a shot. And that's where the detail images come in. So the next one, Michaela. So this was in Alberta, the grasslands. I'm out actually to photograph a nice sunrise shot over a lake. But what caught my eye was as I'm coming up the crest of this hill. This was in a provincial park in Alberta. I'm coming over the crest of the hill, and suddenly these grasses are blowing in the rising sun, and it just caught my eye right away. I said, forget the grand landscape here, the big picture. I just spent some time focusing in on some of these grasses blowing in with the sun off in the distance. Shot it at F2.8. Didn't need to zoom in all the way. I think that, as you can see there, 127 millimeters. Right. So just a small little detail of what I was seeing. Moving on, because I know I'm running out of time here.
I was going to say, Peter, wrap it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
no, I
toss
know.
it
Wrap
around.
it up. All right. So another shot in BC from our little road trip that we did this summer. It had rained that night in the mountains. I get up in the morning, the sun is up already, and the clouds begin to disperse, and I get this window where I can kind of see the mountaintop beginning to show up, and the clouds are moving, and I see the trees, and I zoom in all the way, and I capture this. I'm always looking for the simplest composition possible. It's kind of usually what I try to do, and for me, this was one of the shots that I like while I've had that lens. Okay, last shot coming up, and this one I think is my favorite image that I've shot. Right, my head is often in the clouds. Just ask my wife. These last two images might be appropriate, but this was back home here on the island. I'm driving down the highway after a hike that we did with our dog. It had just rained. A rainbow shows up, and even though I could have shot kind of the whole rainbow, I just wanted to zoom in and capture some of the texture in the clouds. I loved the way the rainbow looked like it was behind the cloud. And then serendipity, this bird flies in, and I nailed that. So, it is an incredible lens, but I know that I've talked enough.
So one quick question on that. Do you know the ISO on your cloud tree shot? Do you remember?
200.
Oh, wow. Really? This is at 200? Beautiful.
Yeah. Almost 100% certain that's 200. I know you don't have it there, and I don't, but it was bright enough during the day. Yeah, it would be 200. Yeah. Next one was 200 as well.
Next time, guys, I'll put it in there. I was trying to show focal range this time around instead of ISO. And of course, the only thing you guys are asking about is the ISO. So noted. I will add it next time to the slides, I promise. All right. Well, Peter, thank you so much for sharing all your amazing images. As always, they're great and super diverse and kind of all over the board of different style. And I love that about your photography. I never know what to expect. Whenever I've sent Peter out on a project, Peter and I have been working together for what, 5-6 years now, me and you?
Oh, longer than that, I think, Michelle.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. There's like that blur years that we don't remember. Yeah. But every time you've ever sent me something, I never know what to expect because it is so dramatically different every time. And this time was no different. Although I did expect at least one mushroom, and I was proud of you for throwing that in.
Nice work, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Peter, for your time. Okay. So next up, Chris, are you ready? Are you prepared?
I'm very prepared. Yeah, shake it off. Shake it off actually helps. That's the real thing, actually. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, Chris, can you introduce yourself? Because you are a new OM System ambassador to us. So a lot of people probably don't actually know that much about you in the live stream tonight.
That's fair. Yeah. Thank you for having me. So happy to be an ambassador. I guess I got ambassadorized about 2 months ago now, but I've been shooting with OM for about 1.5 years. I come from like standard full frame background, and I was given the opportunity to trial the gear. And over the last 1.5 to 2 years, easily made the full switch over to it. It's all I use now. I absolutely love it. So I live in Ontario like Peter, but I live in a less wilderness space than Peter. I'm kind of I'm in southern Ontario, so actually a lot of the United States is north of me. Canada comes down in a little tiny tail that tucks underneath, and that's where I am. But one of the good things about where I live is we're on a migratory route, so we do have a lot of stuff passed through if it can be found. This lens was exciting because I shoot pretty much exclusively wildlife. So the pressure was on a little. I had about 25 days to find some stuff that I thought could really showcase its features. And I wanted to highlight low light capabilities with the 2.8 aperture and the extremely good image stabilization. I wanted to showcase how much zoom it still actually packs. And if I could also showcase the action that you can capture with it, because with 2.8 aperture, you can use higher shutter speeds than you actually need to in case you have a fast moving subject. So I think Michelle is going to show you owls and shorebirds. We'll get to the shorebirds, I think, second. And the shorebirds are going to show some of the, I think, faster motion stuff where I was able to push the shutter speed without any compromise. So here we have actually a cropped version of a barred owl. So this is 200 millimeters, so 400 equivalent. The actual image that I had is a little wider than this, but this is great because it really showcases how far you can still punch in and retain the details. So what I want to say about this beauty here, right out of the gate, is this is not photographed in the settings that it seems like. So this was not in the middle of a bright summer day. This is after sunset. We're talking about the kind of darkness where people are leaving and they think that the photography is over, way over. So I shot this girl here at 1/25th of a second, shooting straight up above me, like really tippy and awkward, at 1/25th of a second at 200 equivalent. So that's like 400. Sorry, at 200. So that's like 400 equivalent. Handheld, so no tripod. And I do actually have the specs on this one for the ISO.
Nice.
This is only, I had it ready for this very moment. Okay. This is only 2000 ISO. So I could have pushed that way further. If you're not even comfortable shooting at 1/25th of a second, you could have cranked that way higher. But I was able to take a nice clean shot at this focal length, shooting straight up. And like I said, when other people would have had to call it quits, I was still able to capture really deep, detailed, sharp photos of animals like this that are really coming out and opening their eyes only at night. So I don't know what you have next. I think it might be another owl.
I think we've got a series of owls we're going to go through.
Oh, the next one's a wide. I think the next one's a wide owl. Okay, so this is great. I'm really happy with this one. And again, the actual like main photo is even wider than this. It shows a bit more of the trunk of the tree. I think it's like a square crop. And this shows how well you can adjust your composition in a pinch. So that first one was taken at 200, 400 equivalent. This is taken at 50, so 100 equivalent. I'm standing in the exact same spot. So we can literally switch back and forth between small and frame shots and those detailed close-ups. Yeah, there you go, like that. Huge versatility.
Yeah, I'm just like also impressed. Sorry. Also, I realized that the EXIF data got pushed off on this one. I apologize on the formatting there, guys. I am just like really impressed with how versatile, like how wide you can actually shoot. And this image is wider. I think that there's something wrong with this slide because all of the information's off on one side.
All good. Yeah, all good. It is actually a little wider. Yeah, but just to show that, yeah, you can do so much with it.
And just also impressive because, I mean, realistically, like at 400 millimeter on the first shot, right? 1/25th of a second, handheld, no motion blur, nothing. It's just like that sync IS, that image stabilization is a true test to that, you know, like it's insane the shots you can get. I mean, I was shooting handheld hummingbird. It's funny. I was shooting hummingbirds in my backyard too, Peter, the other night, but photographing, you know, handheld hummingbirds, and he was sitting and it was getting really dark and I had to really push it. I think I was down to like 1/10 of a second and I was still getting sharp shots.
For sure.
Yeah.
I actually, I was going to say, so for anyone wondering, and obviously your subject has to be completely stationary for this, but I tested how low I could go with some of these owls as it got so dark that you would actually need a flashlight to pretty much navigate. I was able to get a sharp photo standing handheld at 1/3 of a second at 200. So that's like 400 equivalent. And my photo had an ISO of 8,000. And after putting some denoise through it, you could still crop it a ton. And it had the details and cleanness that you would want. So 1/3 of a second handheld was creating very survivable images, which is, I've never shot with anything like that personally.
But you could really pull out some of those details too, which is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just noting, there's something wrong with 2 of the slides. I apologize, Chris, that they happen to be your slides. But also just noting, somebody mentioned the crop. The crop is my fault because we had a 16:9 screen to fill here. So the cropping is my fault. Again, I've been sharing their social media. Please make sure you do check out their images in real time so it's not on a live stream and you get that real sense of the images. Continue, Chris, with your beautiful owl that I accidentally cropped somehow on this one.
All good. All good. You can still see what it's really meant to be, which is a bright, colorful photo. Again, not photographed in those settings at all. Sorry, not in that environment at all. It looked much darker. Like it was that photo right there is the kind of thing where if you saw it with your eyes, the owl is a dark silhouetted blob with dark trees and a white dusky sky behind it, the kind of thing that you like snarl at because you know you can't shoot it but you wish you could. And then we're shooting now, like we're getting shots like this now. It's incredible.
Chris, did you feel like you don't need any, like, you know, those night vision? Because that's how I felt with that lens. I'm like, I don't need those, you know, I can just use my camera and that lens and I'm all good.
I'm releasing an Instagram reel about this lens, and one of the things I say is that I actually had to be careful not to overexpose these images, believe it or not, because I was shooting at one point like 1/10 of a second, and seeing how that looked in camera, and I was actually like, this is in fact too bright. So yeah, literally.
I love this comparison here. Like, so insane.
This is the same thing as I mentioned before. Yes, we're on the left, we are at 200 for an equivalent. And on the right, we have 50 millimeters, 100 equivalent. So I'm standing in the same place and just zooming out. On the one on the right, I would have liked to have composed this so that that tree's not in the middle of the frame, which was my goal next. But unfortunately, it flew away after that. So at least I have that shot secured to even just show the difference in composition. But yeah, ideally, the owl would be more in the corner and that giant tree would not be in the center of the frame. But it kind of tells you what the camera lens can do.
Yeah, having one lens that has this much of a different focal range is very impressive. Oops, sorry guys. All right, these are so fun. These are the little shorebirds that we're moving on to. I love these. These friends are gorgeous.
They are sweet. This is like Peter was saying, or I think people thought I was crazy. They didn't understand what I was doing. So he was down in ditch shooting monarchs. So I was at the shore of a beach, and these birds are so small, like pop can, I think smaller than a pop can. And most people were not even aware that there are these shorebirds. And from their perspective, you can't see the shorebird against the sand or the mud. So I'm just this funny looking wildlife photographer crawling around in the mud and with the water lapping against me, shooting like my life depends on it. And I don't even think most people could see what I was targeting. So they're very small birds. And this helps illustrate how well you can actually get in on your subjects with such a versatile lens. So that's 400 equivalent and backlit. So, you're able to shoot with a lower ISO because you're shooting at 2.8, so you have less noise. So you can drag the shadow slider up on your subject without it falling apart in post.
I love the sunset. Is it sunset or sunrise?
It is sunset, yeah. And so same here. It's very backlit by the sun itself and the shimmers on the water. And you're going to need to have a reasonably clean shot in terms of ISO if you want to be able to recover the details on that bird, which was no problem at all shooting at 2.8. And 1,000th of a second is unnecessarily fast, but I think that kind of goes into what I was saying earlier. It's nice to shoot a little faster than you have to, because if this bird decides to jump or take flight, I'll actually be able to get that shot. The motion stopped. I mean, so you can push it a little further. If you're shooting at 4.5 or 5.6, I may have had to shoot the lower shutter speed, but I was able to push it to 1,000th of a second and still get clean shots and be ready in case he moves fast.
Yeah, that's the problem with those little guys, is they do move fast.
They do.
You got to be ready for them.
Right. Yeah.
They're on the run. Okay. This was a vertical shot. The crop is my fault, y'all. Also, Michael Anderson just asked if anyone has used this in Africa yet. And so just hang tight. We've got some more photos to show you, okay? All right. I love this ballerina bird.
Yeah, so there he is. He's going. So 1/1600th of a second. We have everything we need being sharp, which is the eye and the face. If it doesn't look like it's totally sharp, it might be the resolution on the screen share, and a tiny bit of motion blur in the foot and the tip of the wing, which as far as I'm concerned are acceptable. So, you're shooting at 2.8, you can push the shutter speed for a moment exactly like this, because there's no anticipating him taking a little run there. You just got to press and hold the shutter, and you're going to capture what you capture in that moment.
Yeah, and the eye, the beak are so beautifully sharp, and I actually really like the motion blur of his feet dancing out of the water and that like sprinkle of water. It's kind of more so of a story.
Yeah. I'm a big fan too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Instead of just a static bird sitting there, it's like you can see the motion. It feels emotional. All right. And then I like your reflections you've got going here. These are nice.
Yeah, I was happy with how this moment turned out. He gave me about 60 seconds of that kind of opportunity, and the blown up background I think it just looks ethereal and just very enchanting. And with the 2.8, there's no chance you're going to be seeing weird artifacts in the background.
Yeah, these are gorgeous. I love that reflection. Did you have a chance to use the teleconverters at all with it, or did you just shoot straight out of camera?
For next time.
Or straight out of lens?
Straight out of lens, yeah.
Huh, interesting. So you actually had some pretty good close-ups even without the teleconverter, because I know this. I've been watching the conversation go in the chat. People are going back and forth on whether or not you need the teleconverter for birds or not.
So yeah, you got to get reasonably close, but not super close. Not like birds at a bird feeder, much farther than that. And these birds are small. These sandpipers are smaller than a pop can. I was thinking about my earlier statement. They are very small. So I was still able to get really good details.
And not get, are they pretty calm with photographers, or did they get spooked pretty easily?
They're reasonably calm. Yeah, these ones are at a pretty public area, so they're used to seeing people. Yeah, I still had to kind of let them warm up to me. I don't think they're used to having such attention on them, but once they kind of understood my intentions were normal, they
Good field craft laying down. They're a lot more approachable if you're laying down at their level.
Very true. But I go, yeah, and then people were wondering what I was doing, I'm sure, because I don't think they saw the birds. There's some weirdo laying on the beach with a big camera.
Soaking wet on the side
Yeah,
of the
soaking
shore.
wet. Yes, covered in sand. Yeah.
The reflections are incredible. I like the way you processed it and shot it. Yeah,
Thank you.
really nice shots.
Thank you.
And I like that you basically bring the light to you shooting in a very dark environment for the owl, but it looks so bright. And that's what that lens is about. It's gorgeous, super well done.
I am in love with it. It's extremely good. Are there any more slides, Michelle, or are these the last
No,
one?
I think we went through your photos. So yeah.
So I'll just real quick, I'll say, because I did see in the comments earlier, there was someone asking about how balanced it feels in your hand. And then somebody else asked about it for travel. So even the big 150 to 400, I personally can travel with that attached to my OM1 Mark II in my carry-on. So this smaller lens, definitely you could travel with. And in terms of balance, well, Michelle, you actually have it with you right now. It's different than the 150 to 400. This is the 150 to 400. Yours will have so the 50 to 200 has a thumb hole. Like turn it the other way so they can see, like right in here. There's like a little spot where your thumb. Yes, literally that makes all the difference in the world when you're walking around carrying it. Yep, that's huge design advantage. That's massive. So you're good.
I literally am just here to hold up products. I am a product placement
Looks great.
holder upper
Yeah.
and a terrible slideshow manager tonight. Sorry. I love it.
You're doing great.
Peter, thank you for always supporting me in all of my shortcomings. I appreciate it. All right. Somebody asked, Chris, do you use any sort of denoiser? And if so, which one? There's always a question about denoising.
Yeah, I usually use Topaz, but honestly, I've kind of been using the one that's in Lightroom. It's built in. It just saves me a little bit of workflow from having to switch over to Topaz. I'm a little bit undivided on which one I'm finding better results with. They're definitely comparable.
Nice.
I use On1 no noise, and I find that better than Topaz.
I've been hearing that. I need to give it a try. Yeah.
On1's no noise is very good, and
you're not the first to say that.
And very fast.
You have me at
That's
fast.
I was going to say, that's the thing. We need it fast. That's the hardest part of all of this.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I gave up Topaz long ago.
Nice. All right, let me check who's up next. This is very tiny on my eyeballs. I believe Emilie, you're up next. You ready?
Yes, I am. Always.
So many of you probably are familiar with our French friend, Emilie Talpin, but just in case you haven't been brought up to speed on her, she's going to share a little bit about herself as well, and then we'll go through some of her images that she shot over the past month.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I feel like every time I'm here, it's a treat. I love being part of the OM System family. I've been part of it actually since 2019. I started photographing in 2018, and I just was not going anywhere in a year. And then I switched to OM System, and there was magic. It just clicked. Why? Because I had my camera and my lenses everywhere with me, and I didn't have any compromises. So yeah, I've been just enjoying being part of the OM System family, because I feel that that's what it is. I remember contacting Peter and Eric and Chris and Lisa and Tom and Lee, and those guys were always answering all my questions. And I'm like, I'm nobody. I just started photography. And so I feel like, really reaching your goal is something that OM System can do for you. So I love to photograph everything, but mostly macro photography and wildlife. But this lens has really pushed me to do things a little bit differently. So if you want to go to the first slide, Michelle.
Yeah, we're starting out in some landscapes. I kind of mixed yours all around. So we got landscapes up first.
And landscape is not me. Peter is the landscape. I always learn my landscape from Peter. But here I had this lens with me for 3 weeks. I did not drop it. I slept with the lens. I took a shower with the lens. It's so good. So I thought, I'm going to give landscape a go. And I have this gorgeous view that's about 15 minutes from my house. And that's where I go and look for moose. And I always wanted to take a shot of this. So I put the lens to good use, and that was the sunset, and I used the live ND filters on it. So good, and I really like it. It's very sentimental image for me because that's where I live, and actually you can see my house. It's in that little like light. You can see a couple of lights already popping on the left. So. I actually went back at night and I have a shot and I did night photography with that lens because it's also a great astro lens. So I feel now I don't know when I'm going to be sleeping, because between macro, wildlife, landscape, and night photography, I'm very tired. But it's a really fun lens. And talking about night and landscape, here I'm shooting in really, really low light condition. If you want to move to the next slide, I was photographing a little bit like Peter. I was driving and all of a sudden I see two fawn and a deer, and I'm thinking, oh my God, but the light is so bad. But I'm like, wait, I have the 50-200. I can do this with a 2.8. So same thing as Peter. Started slowing down my car and walk to those guys. I actually was able to walk. They were not very, very scared. And I can tell you that this little fawn really, really enjoyed the 50-200 because he came pretty close to check it out. And again, I shoot this lens a lot at f2.8. It's been really responsive. The focusing on the subject, even in really, really low light situation, is so fast. I don't know if it's faster than 150-400, which is my favorite lens because the reach is amazing, but that 50-200 is so fast at focusing. So that's the shot that I got of the little guy. He was pretty cute. So I've been doing quite a little bit of wildlife in situations that I would not have been able to with my other lenses. So it's been a really big treat.
Yeah, and then photography capability is pretty amazing everyone's photos that I've seen. It's been great.
Yes, and I like to keep it a little darker, so that's why I kept it a little dark. But you're right, I have so much detail. If I want to, change some of my setting or change my editing, I could definitely, and you would not know that this was after sunset and I was driving home to get my dinner. It's really, really good. And then if you want to move to the other slide.
Yes, now we'll all know why I messed up and had
yes.
a slight panic attack thinking I had the slides out of order, because the monarchs are migrating right now. They must be.
They are. I don't know with you, Peter, but we don't have that many monarch butterfly, unfortunately, in New Hampshire. So it's been a bit stressful.
This year the population seems to be down over the last two.
Yes.
Here as well. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to find any, quite honestly. I haven't seen them even in my own yard, and I planted milkweed specifically for that purpose. So, yeah, I'm a little worried about these guys.
I know. I had the same. I worried about insects and, the monarch butterfly. We had a very, very dry summer here. But fortunately, when I got the lens, a couple of them showed up, so I was able to photograph them in my neighbor's garden. And what a dream lens for macro photography and for butterfly. It's so perfect. Mm-hmm. It's super light. You can shoot with it all day long, and I have no problem, hand holding and following the butterfly, and the focus is just so fast. And then you've got that bouquet the bokeh at the back, that blurriness that really makes your photo pop. And yeah, I had such a great time. And I sent you actually only, I think, 2, but I have many. I think the next one is another one. Many photos of them. And, you know, just looking at different angle, that's something that you really need to do when you take photos. The first one compared to the second one, the first one, I am positioned at a different angle, but here I really wanted all that pink element behind. So just moving around a little bit, finding a better background is something that I always think about, and sometimes foreground as well, to blur your images a little bit, which Peter, you had in your shot of the butterfly, which I really enjoyed. Here it's kind of a clean shot and just keeping the background blurry with the F2.8, sorry. So yes, I had a lot of fun in People's Garden. And it's funny because when we have the lens, we told, well, you have to be careful. You can't show the lens. So I was shooting with a kind of like a doggy bag on top of, which are the perfect size. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it worked really well. So people must have thought, who is this crazy person who's spending hours in People's Garden with a plastic bag wrapped up around the lens? That was a little bit awkward. So I'm very excited. I've already preloaded my lens, and I'm going to go back to People's Garden, and now they will be able to see with what I'm photographing. I would look a little bit less weird, I think.
Without your doggy pickup bag.
Oh, yes. So if people are wondering about the size, that's the size, basically.
It's physically the size of a doggy pickup bag.
Which,
it's a technical term. It's fine.
I never use anything because those lenses are great in the element. But here, yeah, I needed to have it a little bit, you know, protected from the human eye. And the next shot is still, so same garden. And I wanted to see and do a little bit of macro photography, which this lens is amazing for everything. It's a very versatile lens, which is what I'm all about, because there are times where I want to just go out with one lens and one camera, but then I'm thinking, but I can't do macro, but I can't do night photography, but I can't do landscape, but I can't do wildlife. Here, zero compromise. Oh, videography. We can't show that, but I've done a lot of videography with this lens. It's so good. So I'm able to record, videos as well because of the stabilization. So a lot of people are saying, well, why would I buy this lens when I have the 40 to 150, which I also have here? Well, this lens is above. Like, I love the 40 to 150. It's an amazing lens. It's so sharp. But this lens, the 50 to 200, you have no compromise. You can do macro photography because of how close. And if you do the 2-time teleconverter, actually, it's a 1-to-1. It's a true macro lens. I love to have extra distance that this lens is also giving me, because you shoot at a little over 2 feet to get that. So it is absolutely fantastic. So if you're thinking, well, I don't need this lens because I already have a lens, but if you have a budget to buy an extra lens, then really consider it just for the macro capacity, just for how fast it focuses, and also the coding. As Peter was saying, shake it off, and it works. I'm not referring to Taylor Swift. I don't know if she will buy this lens.
Shake it off.
But shake it off, you know.
No, now it's
I bet you guys know you were joining the OM System sing-along tonight.
Right. Karaoke after this.
Yes.
Exactly. Someone needs to make an Instagram post with shake it off with this lens, I think. Yes, someone is asking, do you feel like there is a big difference with better close-up range compared to the 150 400? I can't remember with the spec how close. Do any of you guys know that? I said I wouldn't put Eric on the spot.
I do know randomly.
Oh, 2 meters.
I looked at this today in case someone would ask that question. It's 0.78 meters.
Okay.
No, that's this lens.
This
The 50.
Oh, sorry.
But
Yeah.
I think for the 150 to 400, it's approaching 2 meters.
Yes, that's 2 meters.
It's distance, but of course you can equivalent of 1,000 millimeters with the teleconverter engaged.
Yes.
That did, like I said earlier, that did take me a bit of getting used to, is just how far away I could be from my subject, right? With mushrooms, it's not a big deal, right? But you know, to be able to pull in a larger creature. I did some bee photography as well, and just to be able to be a little bit farther away and not disturb your subject is so nice.
Yes. Oh yes, it makes such a big difference with butterflies and the bees, you know. And I got some shots. Same, I didn't send you those, but I have a shot with the butterfly in flight and the bees in flight. Wow, this is amazing. I mean, it just capture it so well. And then, so like Peter, the next one is also I did a hummingbird. Oh no, you don't have the hummingbird. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
no, sorry. No. I skipped
You
it.
do?
I am fired. You guys, I haven't done a live stream in like 7 months, and I'm glad that you guys are fumbling through it with me. And I'm gonna resign from live streaming after tonight because I
No.
We
don't.
both
can't
let
click
that
the right
happen.
buttons.
Stay with us.
But it works very well because that butterfly, that hummingbird is so fast, right? So here I'm able to do a f2.8 and I have an extremely fast shutter speed, so I freeze everything. It's amazing. And again, it's grabbing the bird so well with the bird detection. Oh, it was such a dream to shoot with, and having that distance to the bird as well. So, and the 50 to 200 is really what I wanted because of how close I was to the birds. And the 150, 400 would have been really overkill. And here for me, the f2.8 was a must. So again, lower light, I just I needed it because I wanted to have a high shutter speed. So here I don't have to compromise. I can get that very high shutter speed and freeze my subject.
Yeah, I was battling that the other night with the hummingbirds at dusk because I was using the 150 to 400 and I was at f4.5 and it was getting darker and they were getting closer to me and I was like trying to zoom out more and I couldn't zoom out any further and I was like, no, I'm glad you're comfortable, but could you back up?
Exactly. And with this lens, no problem. And the next slide is beavers. So that's how I started, I feel, with OM systems. So those are my beavers. I can't say that. So those are beavers. I thought you guys were joking. Here we go. Do you know the number of like comments I have on this? But I do not care. That's my favorite animal. And whoever wants to make joke, you can make jokes. I don't care. So those guys they're very often nocturnal. So when it started to get dusk, they're going to come up. And a friend of mine said to me, hey, I found some great beaver, and they're actually river beavers. So it's in the river and they're in the bank. And unfortunately, I've only seen them at dusk. And again, I need that f2.8. And I was able to get shots, and I even use it at nighttime to be able to track the beavers, because this kind of acts as, you know, as night vision goggles. I mean, no kidding. I couldn't believe some of the shots that I got at really high ISO and keeping a f2.8. I mean, you could do everything with this lens. So this shot, yes, I would not have been able to get it otherwise without, that lens. And the distance was just perfect. That, 200 millimeter is so great, and it's super sharp at 200 millimeter. I couldn't believe some of the shot that I got with it. So here it is. That's my very, very shot in, I think, one of the darkest time light situation that I've ever shot beavers at. And usually I don't even show those shots, and I'm able to show them now. So yeah, very happy with how bright this lens is. And then the next one is, I was looking for moose and I didn't find a moose. But what I found was a little red eft, and they wander the forest floor for 2 years before they go back to the pond, and they are bright. They are bright. And I panicked because I'm like, oh my God, I'm here looking for moose, and I don't have my macro lens, and this is the perfect, little guy with a fly on its head. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna miss this shot. And then I'm like, what am I talking about? This lens can do macro photography. So I just went to the ground because that's what you do as a photographer. And again, I was able to get this shot. And again, I wasn't prepared. I'm here looking for moose, and I got my macro subject. I was so happy with it. Because look at all the details on, if you really blow it up, you'll see all the details in the red F, but also in the fly. I mean, it is spectacular.
It's crazy. On my screen, you can see hairs on the back of the fly.
Yes.
On that tiny little guy, there's little hairs sticking right up off of his back.
I absolutely love this shot, Emilie. It is fantastic. You know, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't photograph moose.
Yeah.
I know.
Otherwise, you would have missed this shot, and I think this is so cool. I just love this shot.
And that's what it's all about, right? When we go and photograph, we have one idea. We want moose, but maybe you're not going to get moose, or you're going to get a red F with a fly on top of its head, and that's fine. And the most important is to have the right gear with you. And I feel like that's what this lens has been for me. And I can tell you, I can't wait. It's already pre-ordered. I can't wait to get it because I've been missing it quite a lot. And I thought I was satisfied with all the gear I have, but I guess not. And the next one is another one, again, in very low light situations. So here I'm at 1 out of 25 second, and holding the shot, F2.8. It's super dark. And again, I was able to get this shot that I wouldn't have. I would have had to have a flash, my diffuser, and the 90 millimeter macro to get this shot. And I was able to get it with the 5200. Again, that's by where I photograph the beaver, and turning around, I saw that this toad was right there on the path. So again, I had the right gear and I was able to photograph it. And the last slide is with the Bardal. Again, really early in the morning. And again, like Chris said, you wouldn't know. I just released a video this morning and I shoot everything except the owl right after I photographed the owl. So it looks very nice and light, but the condition when I shot the owl for an hour and a half was very different. So it was on a very dark forest road, a dirt road, and there was not much light going through. And as Chris said, all you could see is a dark silhouette, but this is what that lens does for you. I would have had to wait a longer time, I think, with my other lenses to be able to get that shot. And here I had zero problem. And I made some videos as well with the at F2. I mean, it's amazing. Those videos came out so good. So yes, I just love this lens. Can I say that? It's just my big crush, my big crush of the summer. It's just truly fantastic. And again, I don't have them here, but I also had one experience with the bird flying just right at me because it was hunting right behind. And I can't believe what I was able to get with this lens. So thank you, OMSYSTEM, for engineering this truly fantastic lens for everything. If you want to photograph anything, just get this lens. It will do it. It's true.
I mean, that might be an overstatement, but I really appreciate your enthusiasm.
just name it. I'm serious. This lens can do everything. In my word, it can.
It's amazing. Well, Emilie, thank you for sharing all your images as well. I love that there is like a theme, because everyone that had this lens, even though you guys lived vastly far apart, right? Well, except for Peter and Chris, you guys live like down the road from each other and probably hang out. But
in comparison, it's still 5 hours. But yeah, in comparison, yeah.
But it's so interesting because, you know, we sent these lenses out and to be tested for this launch, and you know, it's summer. There's not a ton of wildlife activity. It's not the best time of year, you know, for that sort of thing. But you guys were all able to find like really unique subjects, but managed to also be really far apart and find really similar subjects. So I just love that you guys all went to the same thought process too, to showcase, you know, the close-ups and the wide angles, and then the the larger animals. And then we're going to take a look at, we're going to switch gears entirely and go off continent for a while with Eric Rock. So we should probably get his intro slide up here. Eric, are you ready to introduce yourself? I saw someone in the comments say that they weren't familiar with you, so we need to make sure they get familiar with you.
That sounds good to me.
It's your turn.
Hey, that's me.
That's
Hi,
you.
everybody. It's an honor to be here, and it's an extreme honor to be part of the OM System family. Real quick introduction to me. I've been around since the film days. That'll help with age. We don't have to go into details there, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's see. I lead photo tours for Van Oss photo safaris and workshops as well, and work with some of the other OM System ambassadors as well in developing and teaching programs. So I get to shoot in a lot of different situations, and it just happened to work out that I was honored to have an opportunity to test this lens out and take it on some of my travels. And let's see, during this shoot, I had a chance. I was actually finishing up a trip down in Jackson, Wyoming, and had a chance to take this lens to Grand Teton National Park, Yellowstone National Park, and a couple quick days up in Glacier National Park before I headed offshore and over to Botswana in Southern Africa to really give this lens a pretty good workout. And I can say it was a beginning of a love affair. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit where I started out in film days.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. We can go there. In the film days, I remember when the first equivalents, the 100 to 400s came out with Canon and Nikon, and they were always compromised in some way. They were slow apertures by comparison, and oftentimes they weren't sharp. I remember back in a long, long time ago, before I discovered what Olympus and OM Systems had to offer, I shot Canon. And I remember the first, the old dust pump, the 100 to 400 Canon lens. I tried 5 different copies before I found one I thought was acceptable. And even then, I rarely took the thing out because it just wasn't a good, sharp lens. And it was so slow shooting film, it just didn't work out really well. So it wasn't up to par for a professional quality lens. And so I can right off the bat tell you, you don't have to worry about that with this, with the OM Systems 50 to 200. It just blows all those lenses away as far as quality, the wide aperture, and everything that goes along with it, dustproof, waterproof, or water resistant, all those things that go along. So let's go ahead and start talking about, some of the photos and what I did with it. Go ahead, Michelle.
Awesome. Sorry for jumping the gun. I got too excited because I really like this giraffe photo. It's such a cool silhouette.
I'm always looking for silhouettes. I like, when I lead my photo tours, I'm always trying to get people to try new images, look at the landscape, look at the wildlife and what they're photographing in different ways, in different light, backlight being one of those. And not all lenses handle backlight that crisp and clear. This just happens to be, sunset one evening, just finishing up a safari in Botswana, down in the drier parts of Botswana at this point. And I'm happy to say that, I was able to get the reach I wanted or what I needed for this particular composition, and waited just a few seconds for the giraffe to turn its head, create a little bit of tension looking out of the scene. And for me, it's kind of one of those moments that takes me back to that safari. Now, I will tell you that when I'm out on safari, I'm teaching people about, finding ways to extract that image from the landscape, and zooms nowadays are a great way to do it, especially when you're in a vehicle or a boat or some type of contraption where you can't really move closer or back away. So a zoom comes in real handy. And not to say that, fixed focal length lenses aren't great, but it's just really nice to travel with a zoom. And I will say that up until now, the 150 to 400 has been in my safari kit, whether I'm going for tigers in India or I'm going for leopards in Africa. It's been in my kit, but I might be rethinking that a little bit now. So we can go on to the next shot.
Eric, can I get a print of this one? I love it so much. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it so great?
Yes.
You might be able to finagle that out of me. Remind me next time we get together, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, or maybe I get you out to Africa and you can take your own shot like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Double yes.
Field trip.
Yes.
Sounds good to me. So, following a couple of, these are actually sisters. you know, I think probably one of the big trophy photo targets for Africa are leopards. I'm lucky I get to go to an area of Botswana that has a really high density. It's actually kind of hard to believe there's so many leopards in that area, but we've been watching these two females for a while, traveling, playing, and finally they end up setting up for resting on this one little cliff. And for me, this is a great opportunity because I believe I was using the MC14 on this particular shot, so I could get in close and get the composition I wanted from it. And then, you know, I think I mentioned already that sometimes when I would put the MC14 on, and I made it a choice to put it on for a particular safari and leave it on, but then I get back to camp or something or back to the lodge and you know what, I'm going to leave it on again. It just became such a nice natural fit that, you know, it was well balanced even with the MC14 on it. The quality, I can assure you the quality is absolutely outstanding even with the MC14 on. I did not try the MC20, but that's going to come down as soon as I get a good copy and my own copy of this lens. I am going to give it a good workout and give it with the MC20 and see if I can't pull out some of those great shots that we saw earlier. So, okay, thanks, Michelle. And by the way, thanks everybody for sticking with us here.
Yeah, I know we're over time. So everyone who has made it for this, thank you for staying and hanging out with us because Eric's photos are really, really cool. We've moved on from the tiny, tiny shorebirds to the big guys. So it's very exciting.
And so working with zooms also, it gives you the possibility to compose exactly what you want. Like I'm watching this leopard hanging out in the trees. This is an older female, probably the oldest female in the area. And you can't see it, but just off to the right, there's 4 squirrels just chattering away, giving this leopard a good cursing out. And I'm watching and waiting for the tail to drop down a little bit so I can get the whole scene. But what's nice about a zoom is I can compose exactly the way I want it, but then I can also zoom in more and look for the frame that's inside that. And I hope that the next shot is that close-up of this same gal where her paw, just the close-up of her face and the paw. There you go. See, we're thinking on the same wavelength there, Michelle. So here it allows you to, so I haven't moved the vehicle, haven't moved in my seat or anything like that, and just being able to turn the camera on the vertical or the portrait position and then recompose, zoom in, and to me, another strong shot made with the same lens from the same location. You know, just a wonderful way to travel. And with its sharpness and the range, you know, when I first left, I thought about, you know, maybe just leaving the 150 to 400 behind, but then I thought, well, geez, what happens if you miss it? You know, you're a long way away and it's sitting back in the closet. So instead I took it on this trip, but I don't know, I might just do my next African safari with just the 50 to 200 and the converters, just because it is so versatile and be able to shoot in lower light. So go ahead, Michelle, we can go ahead and continue on.
I like this one too, but I am partial to sunsets and sunrises. I think it makes such a dramatic image.
I agree. And if you can put something like a lion in the scene for, you know, to add some spice to it, excellent. I watch what other photographers are doing around me, and when they start putting their cameras away, either because the light's getting too low or maybe the environment's getting hostile towards their equipment, that's one of the things I do not worry about anymore. And one of the big things that I switched over to Olympus and then on and going over with OM system is, you know, I don't have to mollycoddle my equipment. I can keep it out there. And we had some dusty conditions on this trip. And I've been in the jungle in India, pouring down rain. I've been in Costa Rica during the rainy season. You know, everything's soaking wet. And I do not have to worry about putting my gear away. I can continue shooting and getting some of those images. And so here in this dusty situation along the Chobe River, sunset light like this, I'm still shooting when most people have put their equipment away. And I can tell you that, you know, I don't think I cleaned the dust off my lens, off this lens once while I was there. It almost falls off on its own, or at least that's what it seems like. You know, I do kind of protect it a little bit. I put it into a stuff sack when we're bouncing down a trail and it's really, really dusty. But for the most part, when I'm in shooting mode, that lens stays out pretty much the whole time. And you know, it is much lighter than what most people are thinking right now. If they haven't had a chance to pick this lens up and hold it, in most cases you'll be surprised and that you don't even realize that you've got that much power in your hands. So thank you, Michelle.
I was very, very, very shocked when I got the first one. When they sent the original US sample, I mean, I did the same with the 150 to 400. I thought that was going to be a very heavy lens, and I was like bracing myself, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I did the same thing. And I got
kidding.
my wife. I got my wife to do the same thing as well with that 150 to 400. She went over to pick it up and almost threw it off the counter.
Yep. It's my favorite thing whenever I'm at events, when I watch people, especially like the Nikon guys. I'm looking at Nikon guys in the chat. When they come over and they're like, oh, that's a honker. And they go to pick it up with their big, strong arms. And they just like, whoa. Like, I told you it was light. I wasn't kidding.
Yeah. And, we've got it hanging around your neck or over your shoulder. Sometimes, the better part of a full day, it does make a difference. When I'm not out leading these trips, I'm doing photo walks. I try to do a single photo walk every day, and minimum 3 miles, more like 5 miles from my house somewhere here in Montana. So, this is definitely going to be a good photo walk lens, especially if I'm going out for wildlife. If I'm walking the trails around town, that kind of thing, because I really forget it's over my shoulder most of the time.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. I like the close-ups that we're getting here, though. These are great portraits.
I love portraits, whether you're talking about, looking at the details in a bird or, looking at the fur in an animal. I just love detail. And the lion on the left there just happened. It wasn't that much of an opportunity for him. It was walking towards me, stopped and turned just a little bit. And I was able to quickly zoom, compose, and shoot. And to me, I just love when you can look into a portrait and see all that beautiful detail. And if you enlarge this one up, you see it. It's got detail and detail, and soft light like that really brings that out. And the elephant on the right, I love taking photos where I don't have to show somebody the whole subject. I remember way back, a long time ago, I worked in social work, and I worked with disabled folks. And I worked with a blind woman, especially, and I took it, and she wanted to go to the zoo. So I had to explain to her what an elephant was. And if you think about it and say you've never seen an elephant, or, nobody's ever explained one to you, and you say, oh yeah, it's this huge animal, it weighs tons. It's got these 2 long teeth that stick out the front of its face. It's got big ears that can fan itself, and a long nose that it can actually stick it down into the water, bring it up, and shoot water into its mouth. It's like, well, wait a minute. Is he trying to get something over on me? Well, here, just taking a picture of an elephant, most of us had the opportunity to see at least photographs of elephants, if not elephants in the zoo or somewhere down along in their life, if they've been fortunate enough to go on safari. But for the most part, I love showing people just portions of an animal, let them fill in the rest of it. And a way you're kind of asking people then to participate in the image, and it adds more impact to it. So I'm always looking for new ways to do that. And the Zoom gave me plenty of opportunities for that on my travels. And I should say too, I'm talking mostly about wildlife, but, I shot landscapes, I shot macro with this lens. It really does. It is very, very versatile. And I picked the wildlife, but, I'd be just as happy talking about the landscape possibilities. I love reaching out and grabbing scenes out of a bigger landscape. So, and also photograph where, the wonderful butterfly shots, flower shots, it's all there. So go ahead. Thank you.
Well, we're up for birds next.
Yeah.
Off. Was this a pro capture shot, or did you do
yes,
this on
it was
your own?
pro capture. Yep. Pro capture. Yeah. Oh,
amazing.
Yeah. Lilac breasted roller. Let me say it again slower so it doesn't sound like it's all running together. Lilac breasted roller. Probably most people's favorite bird when they go on African safari in Southern Africa. Just stunning birds, and even more stunning when they take flight, when all that aquamarine comes out and the purple comes out underneath their wings. So, yes, I was concerned about using it for birds in Africa. I thought, well, maybe it won't be enough. That was probably my main decision to take the 150 to 400 with me as well, is because there are a lot of cool birds. And most people, their first safari, they realize it's like, wow, there's a lot more birds here than what I thought I would see. But, I'm pretty happy using the converters with the birds. And I think once I give the MC20 a good test, I'll even be more sure. But that's one of the reasons why I think I could be comfortable taking this particular lens, saving a little bit of weight, a little bit of space. But, you know, really the 150 to 400 doesn't really slow me down very much, but it would be nice to travel a little bit lighter sometimes, especially when I'm helping other people out and juggling other things alongside. I'm not just shooting. Yeah, I'm also juggling a lot of other things as far as logistics and education and what's going on a safari. So thank you, Michelle. We can go on to the next one.
All right, we are going to shrink it down now. We're getting real small.
Okay, yes, we are. See, yeah, photo walk just from my house, you know, I'm always looking for something. Some days, you know, what lens I take out on a photo walk, and I try to keep it just to one lens or maybe something small like the 6D macro in my pocket. But I walk by some of my favorite flower patches here. Just down in the next neighborhood, there's a patch of oxeye daisies, and I figured I'll walk over, see who's hanging out there. And believe it or not, this is a moth. This is called a police car moth. That's one of the common names for it because of the black and white. And I just wanted to see how well it would resolve in a situation like this. And actually, I'm very happy. This top down kind of creates a little bit more of an abstract pattern between the flower and the moth. But, you know, again, I think that's probably going to be why it's going to be one of my favorite photo walk lenses. The 40 to 150 was always a favorite of mine because of size and its range, and I could throw the 1.4 converter in my pocket, the MC14 in my pocket, and be perfectly happy for hours.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Michelle.
We are on to the last one, and I love your starburst. Oh, that's beautiful.
So there you go. It's funny. You save this for last because this is the first shot I took with the lens.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's really amazing. You did that. Okay, because I was down in Jackson and went out looking for moose in the morning. I had the morning off, and I went out looking for moose. And I drove by. I've been watching this stream for quite a few mornings, and I love the way the light comes down in the summertime. So I figured, you know what? I pulled off, got out, and I went over and I composed it. And I wanted to see, that's one of the things I do with almost all lenses. I want to see how they handle the sun in a situation like this. I have a tendency to flare quite a bit, and you don't get those clear, sharp sun stars like that. They tend to smooth out, or you get, you know, they just aren't this clear and sharp. So actually, after I took the picture, I looked at it and said, oh, okay, wow, this is a new one. You know, it's just not something you see with a zoom this size. So for me, that's another plus. You know, I'm not afraid that says I'm not afraid to put it in unique lighting situations.
Right. Well, and in addition to the fluorine coating on the front that you guys keep talking about, rinsing the front of your lens off or wiping the front of your lens off, it does have the 02 coating on it, which is updated to help prevent that ghosting, prevent those flares and those issues. So, and you just proved it in action and didn't even know it. Look at that.
No, it surprised me, and I was glad to be surprised.
Lovely. Half-second handheld. Did you do it handheld?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I don't think this lens was on a tripod the entire time I had it.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing behind this lens, is that it reminds me of the 40 to 150 in that way, right? You don't really need a tripod for anything that you're shooting with this, especially now with the improvement of the Sync IS and that 7 stops of stabilization. It's like you can just be on the go. You can be hiking or like doing your photo walk through your neighbor, or not your neighborhood, but your local trails. You can be kind of just out, and you could be climbing rugged trails, and you don't need to carry anything else. You've got it. It's there. It's lightweight. It's got Sync IS, which I think is a huge quality.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Sync IS really turned my head with the 12 to 100. I was doing, you know, waterfall shots and cascading water. I could, you know, maybe 3 out of 5 shots at 2 seconds handheld. It would be tack sharp. You know, it's really pretty amazing. And I'm not as stable as I used to be, and I'm sure I'm not going to be as stable in the future. But right now, my world is kind of all lining up here with the image stabilization and the OM system equipment. It's just a good place to be.
Don't say that, Eric. You're very stable.
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Mentally, no. Well, Eric, thank you for
Cool
sharing
image.
your images. I'm super glad that we had you on and that you went to Africa, because we had a couple of questions about that for people with upcoming safaris. So that's exciting. I'm glad we were able to showcase some of that as well and kind of step outside of North America a little bit. But if you are outside of North America, don't forget, everybody, the Coffee with the Claires will be going off tomorrow morning for all of our friends over in Europe. They will be showcasing some of our European OM system ambassadors, which is always a fun time. And then throughout the next 2 or 3 days, we will have several live streams in all the different languages. So if you are sick of hearing us talk in English, don't worry. We've got it in French, we've got it in German, we've got it in Spanish, and probably a few others. So those will be coming up. So check out our events page or check out our YouTube channel. If you subscribe to us, you should be able to see all of our upcoming lives, which is really fun.
And also the meet and greet in the stores. You guys are also doing that. That's going to be, I can't wait for those too.
Yes, that is true. We have a couple of upcoming touch and tries. We will have the lens this weekend in a couple of different cities. We'll be in Seattle, LA, and Colorado in the US. Sorry, guys, I do not know where the Europeans will be, but I know they will be all over. And then throughout the rest of the month, we will be touring a couple of different camera stores all over. You can check out, yes, thank you, Jim is saving my life down there in the chat, putting our events page link in the chat. So check that out if you want to find a local event where you can actually come, hold it, touch it, try it before you make a decision on that. We're trying to be in as many places as humanly possible. So we do look forward to seeing you in person.
If anyone is in Denver, Colorado this weekend, come and see me at Mike's.
Oh, that's right. Peter's going to be there. I forgot.
And I'll be in Boston on the 27th. So come and say hi too at Hans.
Oh, wait, you guys are all doing the in-stores. I didn't even realize that I lined that up so perfectly. Eric Rock will be in Seattle with me on September 27th. Yes, it's a Saturday. And Chris McQuarrie, you're going to be at National Camera in no, not Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Minneapolis, yeah.
Yes. So yeah, definitely check out our events. Wow, that worked out so perfectly that we're all doing events together. I look forward to seeing all of our viewers in person. And somebody just came up with a question.
Someone needs to come out to Ottawa.
Peter, you or Eric, actually, you guys all have the 150 to 400. Somebody has a question. This lens offers the 7 stops of stabilization versus the 8 stops in the 150 to 400. Was that a noticeable difference for you?
Not at all for me.
I didn't notice it either. It really, I know that was in the specs, but honestly, I did not notice that.
Me neither.
It's incredibly stable. I've used it under low light conditions with longer exposures, and if there's a difference, it is so subtle I couldn't tell.
I actually will chime in. I did notice a difference, but it's so minor that having 2.8 as your aperture makes up for that. But I did notice, because my niche things within wildlife are moose and owls. It might even be owls at this point. So I shoot in the dark and push the limits a lot. And I actually noticed it before double checking the specs. And then I double checked the specs and I was right. Okay, so that's consistent with how it kind of felt. But again, shooting at 2.8 is more significant than it is to have 7 instead of 8. So this is still a better way to go for super low light.
That's it.
Sounds good.
Somebody asked earlier about the lens hood. It is a twist on, twist off. You can reverse it and put it the other way. And if you weren't on earlier, it does have that lovely little door for turning your filters. I wonder if we have an official name for that. I should probably learn it, huh?
And it stays on. I mean, I never had it pop off once in all my travels. It's pretty solid. It stays on there solid.
Yeah.
And
Well, it has
comes
a
off
locking
easy.
button on the side. Yeah. So
That's why I couldn't get it off.
yeah, gotta push the button. All right. We have gone so far over time. We're at 1 hour and a half, and everybody probably wants to eat dinner because I think most of you guys are out on the East Coast right now, except for me, and I'm hungry. So I will allow us to say our goodbyes to everyone and our thank yous. And from me to you four, thank you absolutely so much. And thank you to all of our awesome OM System ambassadors that are in the chat tonight who have been answering questions like crazy. A lot of them have also shot the lens. So if you see Lisa and Tom, Chris McGinnis, all of those people, also follow them on Instagram or check out their websites. They also have very phenomenal, amazing images that are out there that they have been sharing all day today. And
if there are some questions, if there are some questions that have not been answered, we'll go and we'll answer them. So post your questions in the comments, and we'll go and answer them.
And thank you, Michaela. You're amazing.
I agree.
Aww,
yeah, like I said,
guys.
You're the hub, keeping it together.
Aww.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for always letting me be on these shows and act a little goofy and usually break some of the technology as we're going along. And thank you to everyone down there in the comment section that doesn't call me out when I break things on the internet. I appreciate you all too.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
You need to come more often to those. You need to do more live. We want to see you more.
I know. I do need to do some more live streams. I'm planning on scheduling a few more because I need to keep in a rhythm of this so that, you know, it's a little bit more smooth instead of me crash course learning how to do it all over again. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. And thanks to all of our ambassadors for being here tonight and your time. And I appreciate you guys. And you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Get out and take photos.
Yes, go take photos right now.